We're basically 10 days away from NBA trade season starting. So Bleacher Report puts together an article how every NBA team should approach the 2024-2025 trade season. Let's go through and see what we agree with, what we disagree with. Number one, we got the Atlanta Hawks. Their goal is to be opportunistic improvement. One of the more confusing teams in basketball, where they can take out the best team in the league twice in a week and then also beat the Bucks, who are on a super hot streak, but lose to the Wizards twice. I don't understand it. I think the cool thing about it is their defense is starting to shore up for the first time in the Trae Young era, it feels like, even though he's not having a really great shooting season at all. So I was curious of what type of season they were going to have and which direction they would push it to, because, there was a lot of conversation about Trae Young being traded to the Spurs, get their picks back, get it traded to the Bulls. But them being 500 right now in the Eastern Conference, that's a playoff team, which is crazy. And when you don't own your own first round pick, being a playoff team is enough. So, yes, opportunistic improvements. Using a Larry Nance Jr. should probably get traded because he hasn't really got much burn since Clint Capella and Onyeka has been back. So, and I think he could be a valuable piece to somebody. I'm not saying that's going to get you no first rounders or nothing, but interesting. And DeAndre Hunter's having such a good season that it's like, do you sail high on DeAndre Hunter while you can? Or do you feel like this version of him is real? I don't really know. Next, we get the Boston Celtics. Minor tax savings. Players to watch is Jaden Springer. They're damn near the perfect team. It's not a lot they can do because of the second apron and all. So minor tax savings, sure. I'm not getting into the whole cap stuff. Not really my cup of tea. Brooklyn Nets. Trade just about everyone. And they said names to watch, just about everyone. And I'm waiting for the rug pull to happen. I know it's happening a lot in the crypto space right now, you know what I'm saying? But it has to happen for the Brooklyn Nets. They're too good for their own good. We already got the sample size to say that Jordy Fernandez could be a great NBA coach. They're 9-13. Cam is playing all-time basketball or career high basketball. Dennis Schroeder's been amazing. Dorian Finney-Smith has been good. So, yes, I agree. Trade just about everybody. Charlotte Hornets, goal is the lottery. Opportunistic, let's use that word for everybody, a word that I struggle to pronounce. Thank you. Add to their young core. It's unfortunate, but it's probably the way they're going to have to go. Dealt with no centers for 3 weeks in basketball. Now LaMelo is out. Trey Mann is out. There's not a lot of wiggle room for them to end up in that play-in scenario like I predicted they were going to be, unfortunately. So, yeah, go get one of the top draft picks again. Use Miles Bridges, who ain't looked great this season. Use Nick Richards, who's making enough money where another contending type of team could want him. Use Cody Martin for the same reasons. Josh Green, too. I agree with that one. Chicago Bulls, move off expensive veteran contracts. So I would agree with pretty much everything here. Zach LaVine hopefully finds a new home, and I love Zach LaVine, and I'm going to be rooting for him no matter where he goes, but he deserves to go play for a better team. The problem is, of course, the contract. Vooch shouldn't be a problem to move at all. It's just a matter of what we value him. There was a report that we're valuing him at 2 second-round picks, which feels crazy because Jay Crowder got 5 last deadline, so you know what I'm saying? I actually don't agree with the Patrick Williams one because his value is at an all-time low. He's playing awful right now, and he's injured. So because we got him locked up, he's not doing anything to prevent us from being a lottery team, right? He's not playing good. I would rather hold on to Patrick for the rest of the season if that means his value gets higher. Or maybe by February, he's played his way back to a 40% three-point shooter or whatever. But I don't like the idea of trading people when their value is at an all-time low, especially if it's a younger player. He's 23 years old. He's 23. Cleveland Cavaliers, hold or very delicately get out of the luxury tax. So that means George Niang and Dean Wade. Please don't do no salary cap movements for the sake of getting below the luxury tax. It's the best team in basketball right now. Don't be trading away okay players just to get below the tax. I hate that idea. I mean, if you weren't this good, then maybe. But no. If you're going to make some trades, get better. Don't worry about the tax bill. But then again, I don't understand the CBA, so maybe I'm just speaking. Dallas Mavericks, hold. No players to watch. I got no notes here either. I just don't. The tradable contracts are all playing well. I mean, Klay Thompson's not playing Klay Thompson ball, but like PJ Washington tradable contract looks pretty good. Quentin Grimes tradable contract has been really good this season. So like, again, no notes. Dallas Mavericks. So Denver, get out of Zeke Najee's contract and Dario Saric and Najee. So they're one of the more peculiar teams because their team, in a lot of cases, is their team. They got no tradable second-round picks. They got no tradable first-round picks, if I'm not mistaken. And the only contract they really have is Zeke Naji at $8 million and Dario Saric at like $6 million or so. It's just like, and they can't aggregate contracts because they're a second-apron team. So who's taking on the Zeke Naji's contract to get better? I don't know. I just don't know. Like me and the guys tried to mock up Cody Martin to them, right? You got no tradable picks. Like, it's not like Cody Martin is a dude that's worth a first rounder. But you can't tell me that if I'm the Charlotte Hornets, I can't get 1 second rounder for Cody Martin. So it's going to be really tough for them to do this. Najee, when they gave him the contract, understood that contract was to be moved later, but I guess they didn't really incorporate the second apron and everything, whatever. Detroit Pistons use cap room to facilitate deals. So the Pistons are one of the only teams in the league under the cap with about $10 million room that can grow if Detroit's trades and waves. Man, Paul Reed gonna get moved for another reason to save some money. I mean, that's what happened when he's with the 76ers a couple months back. They can try to part ways with veterans like Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, and Malik Beasley, but the goal has been to improve. The Pistons are no longer one of the worst teams of basketball. Instead, perhaps the best path is to take on picks, young players, or additional under 30 veterans to help the Pistons continue to grow. It's worth noting that Detroit must send its first-round pick to Minnesota if it makes the playoffs. Perhaps there's a cap on how far the front office wants them to chase the play-in/playoffs. Man, maybe I'm crazy. When your team has been as bad as the Detroit Pistons have been, I'm okay with giving away the what pick would this be if they barely make the playoffs? I guess it's like the 16th overall pick-ish. If that means that we get one playoff appearance, am I being crazy? Detroit fans, you let me know. Am I crazy for saying that you'd rather have a playoff berth than the 16th overall pick? Golden State Warriors improve playoff hopes. Kuminga should be gone. I don't know. GP only plays good in San Francisco. And then D'Anthony Melton should be gone. 1-year contract out for the rest of the season. It's just a movable $12 million, and they got a lot of draft capital too. Yes, I mean, it ain't looked good for the past week or so. I'm actually going to talk about this on a podcast that I filmed later today, a lot about the Golden State Warriors, so I ain't going to speak too much about this. But yes, I mean, there's one timeline. It's a Steph Curry timeline, and though he hasn't looked like, the best version of himself, he still looks like an all-star. He still looks like a guy that could be in the conversation for All-NBA. And you want to maximize that after seeing how good y'all started off the season. And these guys are the tradable pieces plus the draft capital. Houston Rockets, hold or star chase? I'm team hold. I will be team hold for this season for the Houston Rockets. It's still too early to go for the star chase, in my personal opinion. Let's see who we got and how they could perform in their first playoff series. Steven Adams, Reed Shepherd. Dang. Trading Isaiah Reed Shepherd already would be kind of crazy to me. But when they say star chase, it would have to be the perfect star. And I just don't know who that is. Indiana Pacers, improve for the postseason. Jarris Walker, Obi Toppin. I mean, if Jarris Walker is available, if I'm one of those teams that have good players that the Indiana Pacers could want, good veterans, I want Jarris Walker. I want Jarris Walker, man. I really do. I didn't even know what his ceiling is, but he's an intriguing enough prospect that if he is available for trade, I'm here for it. I see a lot of Pacers fans drawing up trades to get rid of Miles Turner. I don't know how real that real buzz is, but them being 9-13 stinks right now, and especially because they were in the conference finals last year. I mean, it's looking like the Atlanta Hawks of a few years back. The Clippers avoid tax, improve for the playoffs. This is one of the more interesting trade deadline teams because they do have PJ Tucker. They're not a second apron team from my understanding, so they can aggregate contracts. So they could be PJ and Bones. PJ's making what, $10 million-ish? Like, that's a good NBA player. You put some contracts together. They have a few tradable first-round pick or tradable picks in general. Like, they can add another real rotational player. And I'm excited to see what that can look like, especially if Kawhi Leonard might come back eventually. Lakers, add depth at center, improve defensively. D'Angelo Russell, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Christian Wood. They just had one of the worst defensive games I've ever watched in my lifetime against the Miami Heat last night. I ain't even got no notes other than saying this shit looked awful last night. And then JJ's talking about how they're not together in the huddles, they're not together off the court. Bron had a good statistical game, but the game before that, he looked trash. And then now Anthony Davis has been trash for the last 7 games. So there's a lot going on in Lakerland, but I made a video about that like 2 days ago, so go check that out. Memphis Grizzlies, playoff depth. Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard. Dude, they also got a lot of good tradable contracts. Luke Kennard, he's hit or miss, right? I mean, jump shooting and all, but some games he may play 15 minutes. Some games he may play 5. It's just really dependent on the matchup, but he is a tradable contract. John Conchar is a smaller contract, but a contract nonetheless. Marcus Smart is very interesting because they've been giving Jalen Wells his minutes and opportunity in a lot of cases, but Jalen Wells gets into foul trouble occasionally, and then Marcus Smart is like, hey, I was DPOY like 2 years ago. How about I guard the best player? So I'm curious what that could look like. They also got tradable first rounders. The core in itself is pretty good, and they just got other people. Miami Heat, time to move Jimmy Butler. I'm here for it. I ain't gonna lie to you. If we're looking for player movement, Jimmy Butler might be the best player that could be moved. I still can't dig the color hair, Jimmy. I can't lie. But I'm so interested to see if he has what that market can look like if the Miami Heat decide to make the thing happen. Jimmy Butler, Terry Rozier too, who's been pretty bad. Milwaukee Bucks, give Giannis Antetokounmpo a reason to stay. I can't believe we're doing that again. Bobby Portis. I'm out of here. We're not. Okay, listen. Giannis is not getting traded. He's not getting traded. Stop adding him in trade packages. Stop throwing the team 2 first-round picks to add Giannis. Do we know who Giannis is? They're not trading Giannis. They trade they would trade the entirety. I was gonna say something wild. I'm sorry. Giannis is not a name to watch. I don't believe Giannis is a name to watch. Bobby Portis, 100%. If Giannis gets moved, I think it's malpractice by the front office. I'll just say that. You don't get a top. I don't know. How far is Giannis going to go of all-time players? Giannis might end his career top 10 to top 15 player. You don't get that type of player in a small market, sign a contract after contract and be like, yeah, it's time to move him. You do everything else before you get there. And I feel like they ain't done everything else. So Giannis is not a name to watch, man. Minnesota Timberwolves decide on Julius Randle. I still don't know. They're on a 3-game win streak right now. They destroyed the Clippers last night by 1,000,000 points. The final score don't even tell the full story of that game. So, yeah, decide on Julius Randle. Does he have a market? If he does, do you maximize that market? Do you try to decide this offseason to bring him back? It's just too much. I'm glad I'm not in the position to make that decision. The Pelicans decide on, well, the decision has been made. I think we know what the decision is. It's just a matter of who are we getting him away to. So avoid the tax. Okay. The Knicks, add size. Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson, I think one of the cooler things about the Knicks is right now they have the best offensive basketball, and it makes sense. Karl Anthony Towns has been phenomenal. Jalen Brunson has been amazing. We can go down his list. The defense is still not as great, but when they add Mitchell Robinson back, I can't understate how important he will be to their defense because it allows Karl Anthony Towns to play minutes at the 4 occasionally and also run some 5. And he's just a good defender, something that they need on that back end. Mitchell Robinson can do that and shore that up. So I understand him being a name to watch because he's never really healthy, but I kind of like what he could add to this Knicks team. Precious Achiuwa makes a lot of sense, though. OKC Thunder, hold, none. No notes. I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that. I would agree with that. Orlando Magic, consolidation tweaks with playoffs in mind. So that's Cole Anthony, KCP, Gary Harris, and Goga Batadze. Cole Anthony makes sense. He's making real money. They got draft capital. He's just a guy that can be like, here's salary filler. At this point, he's having such a disgusting season. He's getting DNP coaches' decisions. And when he has played, he's looked awful. KCP, I think, is a little too early. But, I mean, I guess Gary Harris makes sense. Goga Batadze, I guess we're going to have to see what it looks like when Paolo comes back. Because right now they're starting Wendell, and if anything, I feel like Wendell might be interesting of a prospect to move. I don't know how tapped in Orlando Magic fans are with Wendell. Do they love him? Do they hate him? Are they somewhere in the middle? Because I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle as a person that watches the Orlando Magic. So I think making tweaks to shorten that rotation for the playoffs makes a lot of sense. 76ers hold unless team surges. Yeah, you think so? It's a very interesting team, right? Because again, I'm saying it again, they have tradable contracts. KJ Martin, Kelly Oubre. I mean, there's one more guy. Who am I forgetting about? Oh, Caleb Martin. All those guys are making between like $7 to $9 million and not a second A per team. You can package a few of those together. Boom, we got $18 million we can trade. $20 million we can trade for. We got 2 tradable first round picks. There's a world where they go out and be buyers, but when you're starting off 5 and 14 and we still get an update saying that he's not going to play. We talk about the big fella. He's not going to play because of injury management. I understand why you would want to hold, but also, damn, again? You know what I'm saying? Phoenix Suns hold. They got nothing they can't really do. Second A per team, just nothing they can really do. Portland Trail Blazers, trade veterans with future in mind. DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Grant, Anthony Simons, Robert Williams, Matisse Thybulle. No notes. Let the young guys play. Let it be Kamara. Let it be Scoot. Let it be Kling Kong when he comes back from his injury. Let it be, Shaedon Sharpe. Let it be the younger guys. It is time to potentially move on from this core. Denny Abdi is not going to move because they traded a first form, but it's time for Jeremy. It's time for Aiden. The question is, what's the market on those 2 players? Sacramento need improvement defensively. It's one of the toughest teams to figure out. I mean, part of me is like, go trade for DFS. Try to go add DFS. A long defensive wing. Kevin Huerter, we talking the money fitting immediately. But I just don't know what else. How much does that improve the team is the real question. Opportunistic improvements as well. No rush. Don't trade Chris. Don't think about trading my boy. He's cool. Unless you're trading him to the Celtics where he can go get that ring. Don't trade Chris Paul, bro. He's helped shift the dynamic of what this team is. So don't trade CP. But the rest of the dudes, I guess so. Toronto Raptors cash out Bruce Brown Jr.'s expiring contract. Opportunistic improvement. There we go again. Jakob Poeltl should be a guy that teams should be calling about. One of the better centers that could be moved. And then Bruce Brown, if he'll ever play basketball again, is of course a contract that can be useful. I'm trying to think of teams that could use that though. Like a healthy Bruce Brown on the Lakers helps a lot. He's an athlete. Like he's literally a defensive athlete that can help. But I just don't know if you want to trade for him because he hasn't really been healthy. Utah Jazz, almost at the finish line. Trade veterans with future in mind. So there's Walker Kessler, Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, John Collins. I mean, John Collins having such a good statistical season. I don't know how much that would translate to a really good team, but he's upped his value at least a little bit where teams were trading picks to get rid of him. Now you might be able to just trade him. Colin Sexton is a guy that if I am a championship caliber team and I need some bench punch, he's a guy that I want to have on my team. He can do that. And then Walker Kessler, I guess the price for him is still extremely high. Last thing, Washington Wizards trade veterans or futures in mind. So there's Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, Malcolm Brogdon, Rashawn Holmes, Marvin Bagley, and Jonas Valanciunas. Let it be Alex Sarr, Bilal, George, and Bub. I'm here. I mean, again, we're 10 days. We're 10 games away or 10 days away from trades really opening up. How open will they get? I don't know. I feel like the idea of December 15th is always better than December 15th in practice. But regardless, let me know what you think. Leave a like, subscribe.